As some coastal communities consider adaptation to climate change or retreat, St. Augustine depends on something that can't be relocated or replaced: its history. And storms hit hard here. The city sits on the Talamato and Matanzas rivers and is just a bridge away from the ocean. So I'm on St. Francis Street in St. Augustine right now. And if you can see this line here, it says 45 inches. This is where the flooding level was during Hurricane Irma. And we're told Hurricane Matthew, the flooding was even higher. As some residents and business owners are still recovering, others are taking steps to prepare for the next storm.
This is a structure that flooded during both Matthew and Irma, first floor flooding several feet, and the builder is now raising it to protect it from storms of that magnitude.
In a city as old as St. Augustine, many homes are historic. Adapting and repairing them usually involves local contractors with specialized knowledge, which has an economic ripple effect.
It's such a dynamic number that historic preservation contributes to in terms of our economy, and that's why it's so important that we continue to try to find out how we're going to deal with sea level rise and future flooding events.
Nearby, the iconic Castillo de San Marcos, a 17th century Spanish fort, sees about 800,000 visitors every year.
We don't know how people will experience the fort in the future and what kind of impacts sea level rise might have. What we do know is that we're going to do everything in our power to take care of these historic structures, working with our local community partners to really find the best community solutions.
The Castillo emerged relatively unscathed from recent hurricanes.
These are well-built places that have been here for more than 300 years and will probably be here for hundreds of more years. They're just that well built.
Talamato Cemetery wasn't as lucky. It's located at a low point in St. Augustine on the site of an old Native American mission. Hundreds of people were buried here in the 1700s and 1800s, including Elizabeth Forrester, whose grave is the oldest marked burial in the state. When Matthew skirted the East Coast in 2016, the floodwaters here were about 2 feet deep.
It made the ground collapse in many places because a cemetery frequently has sort of gaps in the soil because there are coffins that have obviously disintegrated over the years, and they've left a little cave there. When the water comes in, it pressures it down.
Vaults were also damaged by water and falling trees, and the association lost a lot of records that were stored on site. Some repairs were made, but no historic site lasts forever.
Now we have been looking more into digital preservation. A lot of sites are getting into better curating in a way that will be enduring after the actual physical object cannot be preserved any longer.
The National Park Service is taking a similar approach, preserving the Castillo with 3D imaging and digitizing the Spanish and Native American art etched on the walls. But St. Augustine has far older historic relics still underground.
We also have over 4,000 years of Native American history, so there's a significant archaeological resources as well as what you see above grade.
Now the city is building and raising seawalls and improving drainage. Adaptation is expensive, but there's plenty of incentive in St. Augustine, which brings in 6 million tourists every year. And that's why the community is coming together to try to ensure the oldest city in the U.S. isn't lost to the sea.